Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. It's not even on, is it? It's all right. We don't need it on. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Jaya Gopijana Vallabha, Jaya Girivadadari, Jaya Girivadadari, Jaya Gopijana Vallabha, Jaya Girivadadari, Jaya Girivadadari. Yasoda Nandana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Jaya Yasya Ranjana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Sodanandana, Jaya Braja Janaranjana, Munati Ravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Ravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Yamunati Ravanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya. Goranitai, 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 Jaya Goranitai, Jaya. Jaya Goranitai, 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 Jaya Goranitai, Jaya. Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Nitya Go Haribo, 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 Nitya Go Haribo, Nitya Go. Jai Go Haribo, Haribo, Haribo Nichai Go, Haribo Nichai. Go Premanande, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Guru Bhaktivedanta Ki. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Oh, thanks, Prabhu. Thanks for the backup on the chanting there with the Madanga and the cartels. Hare Krishna. Okay. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as it is, by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're just going to read the Sanskrit. Sanjaya Uvacha Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vayudam Duryodhanans Tada Acharyam Upasangimyam Raja Vachanam Abravit Sanjaya Uvacha Drishtva tu Padavanangnikam Vivyudam Duryodhanas Tada Acharyam Upasangamanya Raja Vachanam Abravit Sanjaya Vacha Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vyadoham Duryodhanas Tada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravit. Would anyone like to recite? Sanjaya Vacha Krishna tu Pandavanikam Sanjaya Vacha Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Duryodhana Tada Acharyam Upasangamya Mataji's Sanjaya Vacha Krishna tu Pandavanikam Yodayam Jayodam Tada Chayam Sangamya Sanjaya Vacha Krishna tu Pandavanikam Janam Yodhanam Tada Charya Upasangamya Sanjay Vacha. Sanjay said, Drishtva, after seeing, tu, but, Pandava Anikam, the soldiers of the Pandavas, Vayaham, arranged in military flanks, Duryodhana, King Duryodhana, Tada, at the time, Charyam, the teacher, Upasangamya, approaching, Raja, the king, Vachanam, words, Apravit, spoke. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. We can just do this in call and response. Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjay could understand his motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield. Sanjay wanted, therefore, to encourage the despondent king and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjay therefore informed the king that his son, Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief, Dronacharya, to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of the seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician, but Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangement of the Pandavas. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shavasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Mustaya Bhutaleshwari Shri Ram Swami Chinamane. So we're just here on the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, very interestingly, it speaks, Srila Prabhupada's spoken and explained about the five main subject matters: Ishwara, the Supreme Lord; Krishna, the Supreme Personality, and which is the Supreme Lord is actually personal. He's not impersonal. The Lord is a person, and he has a form, and he's not formless. And he oversees everything. Ultimately, it all happens under his direction, under his control. Everything's under Krishna's control, ultimately, externally and internally. And then there's the jiva, the living entity, the soul, and that's us, the little spirit soul. And we're all individual, and the spirit soul is a part and parcel of God. Not it's the same but different. The jiva, we are of the same quality as Krishna, but not of the same quantity. We're much smaller, we're minute, and we're little sparks out the big fire, and that's our situation in this world. Then there's the third subject matter is Prakriti. Prakriti is nature, material nature, Krishna's material energy. And we're all under the influence of the material energy. But for one who takes shelter of the Lord and goes towards him, he becomes relieved from more, he comes out of the material energy gradually. Then there's Kala, time. Kala is the eternal time factor, and that's the checking force for the living entity. Time is eternal ultimately, but we're relative to the rising and setting of the sun, taking away the life, taking away the bodily existence. But ultimately we're, as Prabhupada explains in the Bhagavad Gita, the first stage is understanding you're not the body. We're eternal, we're spirit souls. But the body will gradually go away. And the fifth subject matter, the four of these are actually eternal. Ishwara, the Supreme Lord, the Jiva, Prakriti, material nature, that's eternal because it's Krishna's external energy. Kala, time, is ultimately eternal. But karma is temporary. Karma is the fifth subject. Karma is created by our the free will of the Jiva wanting to enjoy separately than God in the material world, and by his actions, fruitive actions of wanting to enjoy without the Lord, it creates furthermore binding in the world and more traveling through the cycle of birth and death. I was going to say this after these five subject matters of Prabhupada explains Krishna consciousness as ultimately it's not a religion. It's actually a science, spiritual science, and it's science of the soul, and it's to be tried and tested through the process of bhakti, of devotion, and so it's a part of it's a participation sport, not sport, but a participation process. It's not an armchair philosophy. You need to get your hands a bit, not dirty, but put your hands in, as they say, and chant through the first process is chanting Hare Krishna, association devotees, come to the temple, see the Lord, pray to the Lord. The Lord sees you. It's not that we come to see the Lord always. It's the Lord sees us to come and make our effort, so we get help and blessings. And so religion without philosophy is sentimentality. Prabhupada explains, and Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. And philosophy without religion is mental speculation, so they go well together. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's very scientific, but it's not rocket science. It's made through Srila Prabhupada's mercy. He's given the purports for the Kali Yuga layman, for us most of us dull-minded people in Kali Yuga, where we're not so spiritual. And but in the purports, Prabhupada's made it very simple. And he said it's so simple you might just miss it. So, we need to be attentive. So in this chapter one of Bhagavad Gita, it's very historical. This is a really historical chapter. There's not so much philosophy. Obviously there is, if you delve in, there's always so much philosophy, but just through the translations, it's going through the historical, the beginning of the Battle of Kurukshetra. And obviously in the second chapter, that's when more philosophical points start and understanding the difference between the body and the soul. But in this first chapter, we're on the chapter 1, text 2. And Duryodhana is on the battlefield with his all his army, with the Kauravas. And far away is his father from the battlefield, his father Dhritarashtra. And he's blind. He's a blind king. Explains he's a blind king. He's not only blind in material vision, he's blind in spiritual vision as well, unfortunately, due to his birth. We can go into that a little bit. But he's with his godbrother, he's with Sanjay. Sanjay's there, he's actually a great devotee, Sanjay. And they're both disciples of Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva has given Vedavyas has given Sanjay mystical city to be able to, like remote viewing, be able to be in one place and see what's going on in another place. And so he can see on the battlefield exactly what's going on. So Dhritarashtra's saying, he's a bit worried because obviously Krishna's in the heart of all living entities, and the super soul's there in his heart, giving him a bit of, he's probably feeling a bit like he's going down the wrong path because all the bad things that have happened leading up to the war. But he's asking Sanjay, what's going on? What's going on that battlefield? What are they doing? So Sanjay's explaining that your son he's going to speak to his spirit, his martial instructor, and he's going to ask about his status in the battle. And so Duryodhan is. Just one point that caught my mind was in this purport, and I didn't prepare for this. I prepared some, but I didn't prepare for this bit. It just caught me as I was reading the purport. It said that Dhritarashtra was concerned that even though it was a place of pilgrimage, that his sons wouldn't lose their heart, to fight and become a little bit sentimental, religious minded. I think that's what he was sort of saying. And I was thinking that actually it'd be quite a blessing in that case for Duryodhan at that point to become sentimental, not sentimental, but to become some realization of who he was fighting against. And if he understood that Krishna was on the other side and he did have some doubts, it'd be nice if he would have come to some of his sense, some intelligence. And that wouldn't have been a bad thing. But as not just as the story goes, as Krishna wills, there was a great build-up to the battle. And Duryodhan was given a lot of chances. And, and explains he was actually, he's quite diplomatic. He's meant to be a king, but he's very diplomatic. These are one of the qualities of a warrior, but a kshatriya. But not to be too diplomatic. You've also got to carry the truth as well to present to your subjects. But he approaches Dronacharya, and he's saying to him, at this point, it's just on the translation, he's actually approaching him. And the next translation is actually, he speaks to him and he says, "Oh, my teacher, behold this great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged in your intelligent disciple, the son of Draupad." So as we see, when Duryodhan looked over the other side, he was thinking, yeah, I'm doing really good, things are going great. But then when he looked over at the Pandavas, even though they were outnumbered, they had 7 flanks to 11, and they say these Ashwini flanks were 4 miles square. So, that's like, he had about, I think calculated 16 miles more men looking down on the Pandavas. But the Pandavas were so expertly arranged and had so much faith, because Krishna was on their side, that it was breaking his heart a bit. He was getting very unnerved. And we saw that example when Duryodhan went to, just before the battle, he went with, and Arjuna also went on his way to Hastinapur to see Krishna, to go and see him, and to ask him for help. And we know the story, but it's a nice story. And Krishna was sleeping, and they went into his quarters, and Duryodhan went and sat right next to his side, sort of looking over him while he was sleeping. And Arjuna stood at his feet, like a devotee. He took the placement of Krishna's feet. So when Krishna awoke, he saw Arjuna first, and Duryodhan said, "Oh, Krishna, we've come to ask for help. We wondered if you can, give us some help. I was here first, so I just wanted to ask." He said, "Whoa." Krishna said, "It's okay. Well, you were here first, but when I opened my eyes, I saw Arjuna first." And so Duryodhan sort of took that, okay, yeah, and said, "Arjuna, what would you like? You have 2 choices. You either can have 100,000 invincible Narayan warriors of mine, which are invincible, or you can have me, and I'm not going to fight. And, maybe I'll drive your chariot or something. But, and instantly Arjuna, because he knows he's so close to the Lord, he said, you, dear Lord, you, I'll have you. And at that point, Duryodhana, he went, ha, ha, he laughed. He went, great, that's what I wanted anyway. I want 100,000 Narayan warriors, So he was already thinking that he was going to beat Krishna, with numbers and with external elements. And it was a very foolish move. And so now, obviously Duryodhana's looking over. And when he goes to approach Dronacharya, he says, you're the mighty son of Draupad leading that army. And obviously the son of Draupad, when Dronacharya was a young man, or young boy, they were at school. And he was at school with his friend Draupad the king, and they were school buddies. And they got on really well. And in the moments of affection, Draupad said to Drona, you're such a good friend. When I'm older, I'll give you half of what I have. I'll share with you. You're such a loving friend. And it was just that moment. And he's a warrior. He's a Kshatriya by nature, and he's quite diplomatic as well. And sometimes they can change their promises. And Dronacharya is more Brahminical, even though he's a worshipper of Lord Shiva. He's quite Brahminical, and he took it as a truth, as a vow, and he never forgot it. So as he got older, he was always very poor, and that's a Brahmin's sort of austerity in a way. Is not to have too much, is to be detached and maybe accept charity, but not accumulate more than necessary and live simply. And he was living so simple that his poor son, he had a son, Ashwatthama. And Ashwatthama, when he was playing, when he was younger, they say they were all playing, making milk or drinking milk, and he couldn't get the milk and he didn't have enough money, but he got some chalk and he put it in the water and mixed it, and it became like milk. And he said he started dancing, I have milk, and all the kids were laughing at him. And the father came, Dronacharya, come past, and he see his son happy with this chalk milk that wasn't milk, and all the kids poking fun, so it hurt him. And he said, oh my God, I need to go and get help I need to at least get enough money to buy some milk. So I know what I'll do. I'll take my family, I'll go and see old Draupad. He gave me that he gave me that promise. Anyway, cut a long story short, we could go on for a long time. So eventually he went to see Draupad, and at that point, they were older men. Draupad saw him come in, and he said, what can I do for you? I haven't seen you for a while. And Dronacharya said, I just thought I'd say hello. And, I wondered if you could help me out. Do you remember that promise you gave when you were younger? And we had that. You said you'd help me out with give me half the kingdom. And Draupad, he rebuked him. He said, no, we were just children then. Times change. How can we be equals now? I'm a king of the state. You're a poor Brahmin. You've got to be kidding. You go on your way. So this broke his heart. And anyway, Dronacharya, he was training the Pandavas. He got called in by Bhishma for martial training. Kripacharya was originally training them, but he didn't have the real knowledge of Astra Shastra, of projectile, of celestial weapons. So Dronacharya had all this more mystical knowledge, and he knew all the mantras. And so Bhishma gave him the position of being the Pandavas' teachers, and also the Kurava teachers as well. And when they passed all their tests, despite Arjuna being his favorite, because Arjuna was so empowered, and Arjuna was the one that he actually took to fight in the evening, to do, when it was dark, he would do target practice. He would have him out running up and down on a horse, shooting all the targets with literally on the dark moon's night when can't see anything. He just had to use sound. And so he was very happy with Arjuna. And they all passed their martial tests. And at that point, that's when Arjuna and the Pandavas, they approached, and also the Kauravas, they approached Dronacharya, their guru. They said, dear Guru Maharaj, what can we do for you? We got to give you dakshin. We got a payment. So Dronacharya was quite humble, and because he's a Brahmin, but he said, there's a couple of things actually. He said, I want you to go and get King Draupad, bring him here, So So he asked first the Kauravas went to get Draupad, and they failed. Draupad beat the Kauravas. He actually captured them. He captured Drona. He captured Duryodhana. He captured Karna. He had them all tied up on a long, literally tied on some bag of Mahabharats explain on a long bit of metal, and like, not that they were going to cook them, but they were all tied up really bad. So, and then Dronacharya noticed that they didn't come back. So then the Pandavas approached, and Arjuna said, "Dear Lord, Guru Maharaj, shall we go in? They haven't come back. Shall we go in?" He said, "Yeah, you guys go and rescue them, and also bring back Draupad." He said, "But that'll be a dakshin price." But he said, "There's something else I want you to do, Arjuna." He said, "There's something I ask of you." And and Arjuna said, "Well, yes, anything." He said, soon you'll face me in battle," he said, and I don't want you to turn back. You have to fire all your arrows. You have to be ready to fight me on the battlefield, because we will fight, and that is an order. So he gave him that order, and so Arjuna was a bit heartbroken with that, but he still followed the instruction. Anyway, they went in, they rescued the Kauravas, they brought back Draupad, threw him, not too heavy, but threw him at Drona's feet. And Drona said, "You're here, do you mind if I have half your kingdom? I won't take it all, I'll take half." He sort of belittled him a bit, but just gave him a bit of a lesson. And the Kshatriya of Draupadi had to take that, even though he's a good soul, but he still has a lot of pride. But at the same time, he was very upset. So when he walked away from there, giving her half the kingdom, he wanted revenge. So then he approached some sages, and then at that point, one of the sages was very pure, but he put him onto his older brother, which was a bit more impure, and did things, a few backhanders under the table, meaning that Draupad wanted a sacrificial fire where he would create a child that could kill Dronacharya. And so they did this sacrificial fire, and out of that fire, as we understand, there was two came out, which was a brother and sister, and that was Draupadi. Draupadi also came from the sacrificial fire, and when she came, the Akashvani, the voice in the sky, said, she will be responsible for the destruction of the Kshatriya race. And then Drishtajumna stepped out the fire, and he would be responsible for the death of Dronacharya. And it's so amazing, because back to that point when Duryodhana's taking Drona, going towards Drona, saying, "And what do you think of these flanks? They're led by your dear student, Drishtajumna." And then because Drishtajumna's ready to, he's been Dronacharya is so dharmic in his way, even though he's fighting on the bad side, as they say. He trained Drishtajumna. He trained him fully, without any not sure, I don't want to train him too much because I know one day he's got to take me out, and because he was going to be his death pretty much. But he trained him fully and purely to his knowledge, and he was detached because he knew there was a higher cause. But at the same time, that's where Duryodhana was testing Drona, seeing if he was going to be on his side. He was trying to get that peace of mind. Are you going to fight with me? And see his reaction. Because he had material fear. Duryodhana had a lot of material fear. And there's like what they call it, spiritual ecstasy and material fear. Not that I know much about spiritual ecstasy, but they say, the hairs are standing on end, the voice is choking up, and things are faltering, and certain symptoms, and they're both the same, but some are very rarely in spiritual ecstasy, like when Lord Chaitanya was dancing and with his associates, he would go into ecstasy and his bodily limbs would stretch, maybe his hairs would stand on end, but the material fear can also have these symptoms. And this was what Duryodhana, because he was taking shelter of the material energy, thinking the 100,000 Narayan warriors of Krishna and 11 and four more flanks of warriors, 16 miles more of warriors was going to be able to beat Krishna, who wasn't going to be in the battle to fight. And it was his material fear. He wasn't taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. So the moral is, certainly always remember Krishna and never forget him ultimately, and chant the holy name, in this age of Kali Yuga, Harinam, Harinam Eva Kivalam, Kalovana Steva Nasteva Gacha Eva Anyata. There's no other way. There's no other way than to chant the holy name. Because it explains that in all scriptures. You open the Quran and you go deep into the Bible, he explains about hallowed be thy name, the holy name of the Lord. And that's all we really got. I dare I speak of it. I'm not fully realized, but I have seen those. I've seen a few. To my credit, I don't know. I've seen some good devotees that have got it. Like Mother Kalangana used to say, very rarely she'll say, she'll have her beads and say, this is the only reality. It's the holy name. In this world, it's the only reality. I still can't work that out, but I know it's good. I know it's up there, but yeah, because everything's temporary, isn't it? And we're all stuck in it. We're all, like Shiva Swami explained, we think we're out of Maya, but as devotees, so-called practicing devotees, but he says we're halfway. We're halfway up, most of us. He says we're wading through. We're still halfway, at least. But it's we carry on. Good association. We need association, and hand in the bead bag. Hearing the scriptures from hearing Srila Prabhupada, hearing his dear disciples, and trying to an association so important. So we can stop there. We got about 7 or 8 minutes. We can stop for questions or anything. Has anyone not got any questions or anything they want to say? Or we can carry on a bit. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, so okay, maybe we can finish. And just on a last note is these things, this Battle of Kurukshetra, it was done very properly. Everything was done very, very pucker. It was, Prabhupada explains he said it was done and finished in 18 days. No messing around. He was there and it was done. And he said, they went miles, 20, 30 miles away from cities, populated areas. They were right out in the fields, in the Kshetra, right out in the Kurukshetra, massive miles and miles of fields where they could fight. No so-called innocents would get injured. It was just a proper battle. And, that was, yeah. And Krishna said to Arjuna, it's not in a sentimental way, but not that we want to be non-sentimental, but he said, chapter 11, text 32, time I am, great destroyer of all these worlds. And I've come here to just take everything, pretty much, except you, the Pandavas, my devotees. But he says in text 33 that, I love this verse, I can't remember it exactly, but he explains, he says, all these warriors have already been put to death. It's just a case of you being an instrument in the battle to Arjuna. Meaning this material world, it's not that we become averse, but we have to work it through. But at the same time, it's not a lasting place. We're just passing through. So, but we got to try and make the best use of our bad bargain, as they say, because it's not easy being in the material body. I was, yeah. No, it's but fortunate we have a human form of life. Human form of life, it's a rare species, and it's the best species for self-realization. So we have to really try and make good use of it. And as you get older, the path thinnens. Not that we wait till we get older. Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, trust no future, no matter how bright. The time is now. But, as you do get so-called older due to relative time, the path does thin and time goes quicker. When you're younger, you look back and you think, God, things take so long. And as you get older, it's just shooting past. And a nice devotee says, like Radhanath Swami, I think he said, as you get older, it's like waiting at the traffic lights. You got your green light, and you're coming in, okay, green light. Then the ambers come in. The amber don't hang around. Amber goes to red pretty quick. So that's like, life. It changes. And so meaning, we need to, just pray and read Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, and try and chant with devotees, associate with devotees, take prasadam with devotees, come and see the Lord, reside in a holy place. Prabhupada's given us the perfect process. So, okay, we can stop there. Go on to Raj, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Okay, Hare Krishna. Yes?
I really like that you brought up the aspect of time, and it's one of the important factors of the Gita. And Krishna, you were saying, Krishna says, "Time I am." It seems like a really scary thing whenever we think of time. It's like, oh, okay, time's running out. Time's against us. If time is Krishna, what can we do to learn to respect and love and appreciate time as the form of Krishna?
So what can we do to really appreciate time, and instead of it being so fearful or gloomy? Time is actually a best friend of a devotee in a way. It's a very dear friend. I mean, time's running under Krishna's energy, as we understand this Kala Shakti, and I sometimes imagine when I first heard about time and I understood time a little bit, it was so fearful, it was scary. Yeah, when I first joined, just before I joined, I used to be doing my exercises and trying to keep fit and super strong. And I'd look over the road and see an old person, really old, on a Zimmer frame, and it knocked the air out of me. And I'd think, will I go there? Will I get there? Will I do that? I don't think I'll get that bad, will I? No. And then when I come to devotional service, I remember a devotee telling me that the Supreme Lord Krishna, Shyamasundar, he glances at Kala, he glances at time, and time goes, he says, "Yes, dear Lord, it's all running, it's all good, we got it going on." So time's in fear of Krishna, and time's running under his direction. So time is a friend of the devotee, and time's there to remind us that we should use our to check us, because we are complacent by nature, being I suppose a conditioned soul, and it's very good it's there. It's like a law abiding force to make sure that we don't waste it too much. Like, sometimes you get scrolling on the thing, and something kicks you inside. You think, it's so good, but I'm wasting so much time. And I was quite interested. A guy called it. It's like scrolling. That's such a time-wasting thing, but he called it doom scrolling. And I had that going on in my head. It's quite a good antidote, actually, because it's taking you to your doom. But because Krishna wants you to always remember him and never forget him, and use everything in his service. So when we use Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, just try and then time relaxes. Time pats us on the back, I think, if you do your, that's it. Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, on to Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Go Premanandi. Hari Bol. Thank you. Thanks, Prabhu.